This episode of Screendivers was recorded in the wake of the passing of legendary actor Sam Neill. Sam, the Screendivers salute you. Enjoy the show. This is Screendivers. In this week's episode, we are talking about In the Mouth of Madness. This movie came out in 1994. It's directed by John Carpenter, written by Michael DeLuca, produced by Sandy King, and starring Sam Neill, Julie Carmen, Jurgen Prochnow, Charlton Heston, and many other character actors. Cinematography by Gary B. Kibbe, edited by Edward A. Werschelka. Music by John Carpenter and Jim Lang, distributed by New Line Cinema. This movie has a running time of 95 minutes. It was made for an alleged budget of $8 million and a rate 8.9 million domestically. How are you guys?
I am all right, Umba. How are you?
I'm all right, man, but I'm even better because we have a special guest today. Welcome, Liam Regan!
Hey guys, thank you for inviting me back. I had a great time last episode, so thank you for inviting me for more.
Excellent. We'll make sure not to meet that high bar we reached last time. All right. You can't have too much of a good time.
Liam, you should feel very honored. This is our first John Carpenter on this podcast.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's our first Sam Neill on this podcast. Is it our first Sam Neill as well?
It is.
Is it our first Charlton Heston on this podcast?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Charlton Heston, the guy from Bowling for Columbine, right?
Yeah,
yes, pretty much. The NRA guy, yeah. The NRA.
That's right. And then Michael Moore.
Take your hands off me, you damn dirty ape.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He said that in Bowling for Columbine, I think, as well, right? Or was that Fahrenheit 9/11?
Yeah, he did.
It's all right. He was all right. He was all right in this movie, right? But there's one black person in this movie, so he was all right. Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God.
But anyway, I should have introduced you as director Liam Regan.
I forget sometimes. It's been a long time since I've directed a movie, so thank you. I appreciate it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're still the head of the glorious robot that is Refuse Films, but we're going to talk about that.
An uncircumcised head, may I say.
Oh, my God.
Uncircumcised head. I'd also say auteur, because you write everything as well, so auteur.
Yeah, thank you.
But hey, before we proceed, I think a quintessential question must be asked. Ricky, what is this movie about?
John Trent is being dragged into a mental asylum, against his will initially, but he is happy to be there, for he has a tale to regale. This tale is full of mystery, woes, and a hack writer who has disappeared somewhere in New England. He has been hired, along with Linda Stiles, the editor of Sutter Cane, to find him. But do they go to New England, or do they go somewhere else?
We're not going to ask a stupid question. What's your first experience with this movie? Because I'm pretty sure that we all kind of watched it around the time it was released. Am I correct in thinking that?
Maybe a couple of years later for me. But...
Okay. So home video, right?
Yeah.
I knew when the movie came out because I remember seeing it in the video stores. And for whatever reason, growing up in the 90s, I was a young kid, but I did notice the newer horror films had shoddier artwork. So the VHS cover art as a kid never really made me want to rent it. So I first saw In the Mouth of Madness. My ex-girlfriend showed it me in 2013, and it's one of her favorite movies. So I watched it for the first time, and she also showed me it as a double bill, Possession, which is also another Sam Neill film. So
on the same session? In the same session, back to back?
Back to back. I watched both back in 2013. So that was my first discovery, and my first rewatch of this film was to prep for this episode. So there you go.
Wow.
Nice. Ricky, originally we had another movie on the schedule, and it doesn't even matter what it was. We won't even say what it was, right?
No.
But ideally, there was no way for us not to do this movie in the wake of what has happened. So
I think that this movie has been on the list for a very, very long time, because I think I remember talking to you about it last year when Arrow Video re-released it on 4K.
Yeah.
And I had in the back of my head that we've got to do it soon. It just has to happen soon. And the events of what's recently happened have basically just pushed it to the forefront for us. There's something about this film, like when we discussed Battle Royale the other week, there's something about this film. I'm surprised actually that, Liam, it took you a while to rewatch this film, because in the back of my head there are certain scenes that constantly play over and over again, which makes me go, oh, I need to see it again, or why did that fit in this movie? That strange moment, where did it fit in this movie? So yeah, it's a film that I think as we explore this, we're gonna discuss why this is in our zeitgeist, even though it seemed to disappear from the market after VHS. Like, it never got a proper DVD release, and now it's suddenly got a 4K Blu-ray release out of nowhere.
I mean, it's part of the Apocalypse trilogy. We're going to get there. But it was at the bottom for me. This was at the bottom. Prince of Darkness was above it, right? And
The Thing.
The Thing is at the top, obviously.
It's like way at the top.
But now they switch places. Like, I did 2 viewings. Yeah. Because last time I watched it, I think the first time I watched it, I didn't particularly like it. There were many factors that it just didn't have that impact. And I think one of the big things here was the artwork as well. Like Liam said, just walking around the video store, you would gravitate towards something. And in fact, the promo that we use for our reel on social media is poster art. It's not the original poster. The original cover was pretty shoddy, dude. It was like a photo.
Yeah.
It was, in an age in which a lot of covers were actually hand painted. You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't calling for me. And not only that, but I think you need to be an adult. It's a relatively adult movie. Like, it's strangely enough, and it's funny, dude. This movie is, when it's funny, it's hilarious. Sometimes unintentionally, sometimes intentionally. And it's also laden with investigative work, if you want it to be. Because that's what happened to me. I was covered in crosses. My living room is covered in crosses now. Like, I was writing. I wrote 5 pages of notes. I might have as well just covered my walls with notes. It just invited me to look further. The movie does that. I think the movie does that. And we're going to get to it. But it just didn't have a place in my heart as much as it does after these 2 viewings. I watched it twice back to back in the past 48 hours.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite John Carpenter film, probably.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest John Carpenter fan for whatever reason. And I've gone back to a lot of his films to try to see what people see in it. And I can appreciate the craft and I can appreciate the storytelling. There's just something, and it's probably a me issue more than anyone else, with John Carpenter, where it doesn't pull me in like the Toby Hoopers, the Wes Cravens. And Carpenter's, you could argue, is in probably the top 5 American genre filmmakers. Halloween, for example, but I think In the Mouth of Madness says, it's trying to communicate more than a lot of his films. At least that's what I got out of it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's existentialism. It's cosmic horror at its finest, and that's where we're going to go with this one, by the way, because these 2 viewings not only have switched my ranking within the Apocalypse trilogy when it comes down to Carpenter's work, and I'm saying this firmly, it has placed this movie at the top of the list for Lovecraftian horror. I mean, Dagon held that place very, very. Dagon, it was Dagon, The Void. You know what I mean? Colorado Space is way out of this list for me because I really disliked it, but that's a different story. And I know we're going to fight over it, but I'm right. So in this instance, this movie is now the top of the list. It has everything. And these are concepts that are really hard to put on screen. There's an actual scene. We're not going to do this, in order, in chronological order. But there's an actual scene in which our protagonist is literally like staring into the void. And it's an entire sequence with narration from the actor behind him. It's it's bananas. And these are concepts that are not easy to put on screen, to the point in which I think the director knew that. Because that set piece, as like the words on the page around the portal, if you remember, there's like and it works. It just works. Plus, it was a joy to watch because on the second viewing, I picked up on something else, which is this. And again, just an opinion, but in my opinion, this is Carpenter at his most playful, and it's up there with Big Trouble in Little China. Believe it or not, tonally, these are completely different movies, but he is at his playful. His most playful. It's a creature feature. It's got fantastic one-liners. Like we could spend this episode could be easily 6 hours, but we wrote them down. I'm going to ask you this as well. Which were your favorites? And the thing is, it looks like a happy accident. You know what I mean? It looks like a bunch of ingredients just got mixed together and they made a dish, a wonderful dish. It seems almost accidental because all the ingredients, everything is there also to set you up in the wrong way as a director. These are abstract concepts. There's a lot of, somehow there's no melodrama, and it would be a lot of melodrama because you need to establish the relationships here. It throws all of that out the window, and it works. It works.
I definitely see this as a high-end John Carpenter film because it has gathered a lot of, let's call them tropes, from his earlier films. One of the bits that I love the most about this is actually, it feels like it's taken directly from The Thing, but the tentacles under the door just whipping back and forwards.
It's Linda, right? It's Linda.
Yeah,
it's their first form.
But there's something about all of the elements that get thrown in here. Like even when you first see Sutter Cane, do I have to do my spoiler warning? Spoilers, everyone, for the film In the Mouth of Madness. We will be going through many of the significant shots and significant plot holes or plot lines, as you may deem them, for this movie. There was a bit with Sutter Cane where he's talking to Styles, and the camera suddenly goes around his head, and he's got a whole new being growing out the back.
Oh yeah,
that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things where every so often you meet a person who said, "I can't believe you watch horror films. How can you sleep at night? Aren't they really disgusting or whatever?" And you just go, no, look at the special features of this or the special effects of that. And this film kind of sums it up. This is what a true, end of an era's, like, because it was the 90s, it wasn't really the 70s or the 80s, all of that gore horror stuff. But this was definitely like a sum up or a celebration of those sort of horror films, those body horror, body dysmorphia horror films.
Absolutely, without a doubt. But in the previous episode, you mentioned we did Battle Royale, and we did sometimes a movie without even unintentionally does something that could be easily the movie's downfall. And I'll give you an example. In Battle Royale, there's a ton of melodrama, and we talked about those relationships and how somehow in that movie it works because they were all teenagers, right? Here, there's a lot of shit that you would have gone, what the fuck? There's a lot of scenes that would make zero sense, or they would have, they would create a plot hole. But the idea is that the very theme, the very type, the genre, the subgenre of horror that this movie dwells within allows for everything. So if you run with it, then I didn't need an explanation. And I'll give you an example. This is stuff that made me laugh, but it was also like awesome because here it works. Otherwise I would have gone, what the fuck, in the region, and I would have laughed in the region. There's a moment right after the scene that you described with the tentacles under the door, in which our protagonist, which is called John Trent. John Trent is an insurance investigator. And when they are in Hobbs End, no, is it Hobbs End, the name of the fictional place? Hobbs End. When they're, right after we get Linda in her first transformation, he's in terror, which, by the way, there's a lot of little tropes and little rules from, there's a lot of cues taken respectfully from Lovecraft's work and done right, which is the idea, like the way he switches from wonder to surprise to fear to anger. Like that's what it's doing to our protagonist, the madness, how it's creeping into his mind, right? The more self-aware he becomes, that's done really well. If you've read any of Lovecraft, that's, and again, that's a concept and it's put on screen and it works thanks to our lead as well. Fantastic, phenomenal actor. But during that sequence, right after the tentacles, he freaks out and he runs out of the inn. And he starts running towards the car. He comes out of the building, the inn, and to the side of the main structure of the building, there's like a conservatory, like a sunroom. And you see this creature doing a dance of death. Trying to get in the car.
Kind of flicking.
Mate, It's weird. It's fucking funny because he actually stops as well. You see it as the viewer, and when you acknowledge it, he turns around before he goes in the car, looks at it, and goes, "I'm getting the fuck out of here now." It's hilarious. Which, by the way, the car, if you go online and you search for the car, forget it. You're not going to find it. I tried everything. I tried to think of it, and it's prominent. It was reported as a Ford Taurus, then as a Cadillac, a different car. It's not. It is a Cadillac, but it is... Wait a second. Hey, it's important to talk about the car. I'll tell you why. And inexplicably dustier than usual, 1993 Cadillac Seville STS. Is it gray? Is it blue? Is it silver? We don't know. We'll never know. No matter how much you grade this movie, it's fucking covered in dust. And I think there's a reason why.
Okay.
Interesting. I mean, could be an analogy for like the horror genre in a way, maybe?
It could be that, or it could be what Charlton Heston tells us at the end of the movie, which is, you gave me the manuscript a month and a half ago.
Yes.
So he hasn't driven anywhere. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's just been spiraling in his own apartment. That's one of the things I've been thinking about.
That's very interesting.
It's not explained. What you do see, however, is how he gets the job. He goes back to his apartment, he looks at the TV report, and he starts drinking. He takes a shot. And again, it took me an inordinate amount of time to try and find out what he's drinking, because it looks like a bottle of Cuervo, but it's... Dude, I'm telling you... I spiraled, man. I went full-on Pepe Silva.
Pepe Sylvia. This name keeps coming up over and over again. Every day, Pepe's mail's getting sent back to me. Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I look in the mail. Well, this whole box is Pepe Sylvia. So I say to myself, I gotta find this guy. I gotta go up to his office. I gotta put his mail in the guy's goddamn hands. Otherwise, he's never gonna get it. He's gonna keep coming back down here.
This movie did to me what it did to Sam Neill. So meta.
Yeah. I just think it's such an interesting film as well. If you think about the time it came out, 1995, right? So in music, we had the grunge era. And, up until a point, the 90s for horror was the box office was down. The quality and the material coming out wasn't as strong as the 80s. And in fact, you could say that the evolution of what horror became started in 1994 with Wes Craven with New Nightmare. John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. If you watch In the Mouth of Madness, it's trying to elevate the horror genre, because I feel within the Mouth of Madness, not only is it one of Carpenter's most polished movies, he's dealing with CGI. He's trying to bring the practical and the 90s together. And
it's on the threshold. Yeah, it's on the threshold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it kind of, but then in 96, Wes Craven did Scream, but you could even tell with Carpenter, he was trying to do something new. And then even when you just mentioned it's quite meta in universe story, the whole In the Mouth of Madness, Scream then took that to a whole new level. And then that horror genre then sprouted in the late 90s with I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legend, etc., etc. But I do feel Carpenter was onto something here. And I feel like this was his 90s horror. The only thing that I felt kind of kept it kept its foot in the 80s was the opening and the outro soundtrack being very kind of 80s rock, where in the world, grunge was really knocking down the door.
You mentioned grunge, and we are on the threshold of a lot of worlds here, just like this movie, right? We're looking through the portal. We're seeing what's behind, what's ahead, and we're leaving metal behind somehow. And this, like the opening tune of this movie is by Carpenter and Jim Lang, I think. But it wasn't just the two of them. They brought someone in from the Kinks to do the guitar solo that you hear in it.
Yeah.
What's his name? Dave Davies?
It's a double name one. It's the Dave Davies.
Yeah. And you're right. It is, they couldn't get Enter Sandman from Metallica, and Carpenter, I'll make my own. We have Enter Sandman at home. And he made his own. That's fine. It's effective. Already warned our listeners, so we're going to go to the end, the beginning, whatever. But the opening of this movie is hypnotic. It's hypnotic, like the press, the pressing of the book. It's great. Beautiful. It's great footage, and the music as well. Like you said, it's also like a personal fuck you that John Carpenter, he does that quite often. And at one point or another, okay, to our listeners, before we recorded, I sent an image. It's a screenshot. I took a photo while watching the movie because there was no way for me to do this any other way, of something that comes up in the final credits. In the final credits of this movie. So if you let it run when you watch it, you will get to the rolling credits, go all the way to the end. There's a little fuck you message from John Carpenter. Now you can look at your phones, guys.
Hearing Interactions was monitored by the Interplanetary Psychiatric Association. The body count was high. The casualties are heavy.
This is, I had to look it up because it was shut up. I was like, what the fuck is this? So I looked online. It's like, it's basically a denouncement of bureaucracy, which is something that John Carpenter had to fight against all the way through his career. This movie does not have a happy ending. You know what I mean? And if it wasn't for the person who wrote it, and why did I even gaze in that direction? Because there's one line of this movie, when I heard it, it led me down a rabbit hole. I got a bunch of my favorite lines in here. And to be honest with you, I had to stop at one point because every sequence in this movie has a favorite line. There's some dialogue in here that wouldn't work anywhere else. It would be so comical. And yet here it is still funny, but it's also because it's preposterous. Like it's one of them. It's a line from Sutter Cane, uttered by legendary actor Jurgen Prochnow, which you know from Das Boot, from The English Patient, from Dune, and a ton of other shit. It does a slightly better more consistent American accent, I guess, with a heavy German inflection than Sam Neill. Sam Neill gets away with murder here, man. He slips in and out of his Kiwi accent all the way through the movie.
I noticed that.
Yeah, because he's in the moment, right? So whenever he's reacting with emotion, it just slips, it just goes, and it's okay. It's okay. But the line in question, uttered by Sutter Cane, I think, therefore you are.
Yes. And
when I heard that, I thought, there is no way that the script wasn't written under the heavy influence of cocaine.
Vision, dreams of passion. And all the while I think of you. A very strange reaction. The more I see, the more I do. Baby.
And then I looked it up. I was like, who wrote this? The guy that wrote this is a dude called Michael DeLuca. Michael DeLuca today is the co-chair at Warner Brothers, but he was the main executive at New Line Cinema.
He was the man.
And guess what? In the mid-90s, and he said this in an interview himself, he was in the throes of a cocaine addiction. He was this script is basically him just going, just writing this fucked up movie.
I mean, you know where he got the inspiration for this? Because this film, you could argue that this film has the same threads as They Live. You could argue that this film has the same threads of even a Cronenberg film. And that's what I was going to say earlier on, which is like, this is probably the closest to Cronenberg John Carpenter's ever been. Because again, it's the whole influence, groupthink, the new way versus the old way sort of elements. But yeah, the writer used to go from New Line Cinema to the whichever tube station, or it's not called a tube station, underground station he used to walk to, and he used to just see piles and piles of homeless people. And in whatever state he was in, he was like, what if they're just pretending to be human? What if they're like these creatures that, you know, are pretending to, and they're just slowly taking over and nobody's even doing it? And, you know,
Mate,
of course, that's a cocaine.
That's a conversation at 4 a.m. in somebody's kitchen. Like, for sure. And it filters through all the way through the movie. But how do I know as well that there's like weird decisions that were made here? There's a connection between Happy Gilmore and this fucking movie. There's a heavy connection. Do you want to know what it is?
Yes.
There are two, actually. There are two. Now, one of the funniest bits at the beginning of this movie is when our protagonist is taken to the asylum, right? And as soon as he's in the cell, music plays in the speakers, and the music is We've Only Just Begun by the Carpenters.
We've only just begun to live. White lace and promises, a kiss for luck and we're on our way.
We've only begun.
Before the rising sun we fly.
Now, it's actually not the Carpenter's version, but the moment he hears it, he goes, oh no, the Carpenters too, and he slides down, right? On the wall in despair. Yeah. Now, why is that a connection with Happy Gilmore? Because Michael DeLuca was the main producer in Happy Gilmore as well, the writer of this movie. And in Happy Gilmore, there's a sequence where Carl Weathers is playing the piano. And the song that is playing in the piano.
Oh, it's a Carpenter song.
It's this Carpenter song.
That's great.
But wait, that is not the only connection to Happy Gilmore. There's a movie that was never made that I wish it was made, which would be the backstory of one of the fictional characters we meet in this movie. They're all fictional characters, allegedly. And it's played by the legendary Frances Bay. She's the woman that runs the inn, and she has her husband strapped and cut to her ankle. She was the grandmother in Happy Gilmore, I think.
Yes.
Right.
Well. She was in that as well.
I mean, that guy was like a great head honcho at New Line Cinema. And thanks to him, Freddy vs. Jason finally got made after so many years of development. So thank you, Mike DeLuca.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael DeLuca.
Man, New Line Cinema, are you fucking joking? There's so many classics like it's...
Dude, I have a New Line Cinema. I've got a New Line Cinema tattoo. There we go.
You're joking.
Well, there. New Line Cinema. New Line Cinema.
Okay, you need to take a photo for our listeners because I'll put it in the comments.
Okay, cool.
So it's funny that because earlier, going on what Liam said earlier, 1995 was a very, very funny time for cinema. I actually found an article with John Carpenter and talking about In the Mouth of Madness from Cinefantastique, February 1995. Mm-hmm. And the list of films in this Cinefantastique are Lord of Illusions, Candyman 2, Hellraiser 4, which is Bloodlines, you know, the great space one.
Yep.
Demon Knight.
Oh my God.
Demon Knight. Johnny Mnemonic.
Oh my. Was Wishmaster there as well? Was it
No, but Star Trek Generations was getting released this year in 1995.
Wasn't David Warren, which is in this movie, in Generations as well? Or was it Voyager?
He was in Voyager.
Okay.
He was in Voyager.
Okay.
But funnily enough, so I'm looking up these articles. Heavenly Creatures was released the same year. I was looking through these articles, and I was reading through the John Carpenter one, and as I was reading it, I was like, this style of writing seems very familiar. Now, I'm going to say this to Liam, and you're going to watch his eyes light up, either for good reasons or bad reasons, I don't know. Well, it turns out the Heavenly Creatures article and the John Carpenter article are written by none other than Fright Fest's Alan Jones.
Wow.
So both, yes.
Wow.
So both of those articles, of course, Alan Jones, if you don't know, he's one of the film directors for the Fright Fest festival in London every year. I think he's slowing down now, to be honest, but of course he is. He's been around since the 70s. But Alan Jones, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have so many behind-the-scenes featurettes on so many great films. One that comes to mind straight away, which was, I think it was the first time I met you, Liam, because you were doing My Bloody Banjo. And I think one of the Mitches introduced me to you, and it was very fleeting. So, the next time we met, we had a proper conversation. But after that one, I had such a lull. Like a real anyway, I went home back to Birmingham and I put on Scanners, David Cronenberg Scanners. Mm-hmm. And then I started watching the special features, and lo and behold, there's Alan Jones's head popping up to tell me more about Scanners. And I was like, I'm at Fright Fest again. It's Alan Jones. Hey.
Oh man. Hey, I've got an Alan Jones story. Can I tell it? It's a really quick one.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was in, so I obviously met Alan Fright Fest. 2010 was my first year. In 2013, I was working in Cannes with Trauma to promote Return to Nukem High Volume 1. And Alan, I remember Alan being in a car promoting The Dead, or it was either The Dead 2. Do you know, it's directed by two brothers. I forget the names. South African zombie movies, The Dead. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Came out. Yeah, it may have been the first The Dead, but all I remember was Alan Jones with his head out the car going, "Trauma sucks, you're rubbish, you're trash."
To who?
To me, well, to Trauma, to me, to the whole Trauma team. But so yeah, that's my favorite Alan Jones story. I have many, but that's my favorite.
One of my favorite Alan stories is I was standing in a queue trying to get extra tickets to one of the Discovery films, which is, if you don't know Fright Fest, you've got the main screen and then you have the Discovery screens. And the Discovery screens, in my opinion, are always the better ones, because they're the sort of ones that provide a film that you're never going to see anywhere. And you may never see again, or you have to then go around to people and say, we need this on Blu-ray or we need this on DVD. A good example of that is One Cut of the Dead, which only had 2 screenings on the Discovery screens at Fright Fest. But because of its popularity, it increased to 4 or 5 screenings over that weekend. And it's a blinding success. It's great. And it wasn't on the main screen. It wasn't on the main screen. It was on the Discovery screens. And I just remember standing in the queue one morning to get a Discovery screen ticket. And Alan walks by, don't know what state he was in. He just kind of said hi to us, gave us everybody in the queue a handshake, went behind the scenes, came back out and gave each one of us a vinyl. The vinyl was of The Chamber by the lead singer of Manic Street Preachers. But still, he was just like, take this vinyl. Take it. Everybody in the queue got a vinyl.
That's
just
cool. Very nice.
You get a vinyl, and you get a vinyl,
you get a vinyl, and you get a vinyl. I'm Alan Jones. I used to know the Sex Pistols. You get a vinyl.
I know Dario Argento. I'm friends with Dario Argento.
You get
Take
a vinyl.
You know what? You should do it, Liam. You should dress up like Oprah and just show up as Trooper.
You're right. You take a Blu-ray, and you take a Blu-ray.
Now, I want us to pull back. I want us to pull back from this movie for a moment and think about a couple of things. We're here today to celebrate Sam Neill. We were going to do, you said something right, which is, and I remember a phone call as well when we switched to this movie for the reasons we enlisted earlier. It's obviously because, Sam Neill passed, but, and it's our way to say goodbye. But one of the first movies by, I might as well say it, by Carpenter we're going to do that was on schedule, Starman. And there's a reason why I'm saying this now. I think, and it's something that I never thought about. Like, I knew this factoid. I knew that, perhaps Carpenter wasn't the luckiest in love at the beginning of his career. He had a tumultuous marriage with Adrienne Barbeau, like it's a flash in the pan. And that kind of reflected in the way he made movies as well. Because when that ended at the end of '84. The next movie he made after that was Big Trouble in Little China. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, life is sunny again a little bit. So even his take was much more humorous. But if you look at the thing, it's fucking dark, dude.
Mm.
So, and there's a lot of mistrust. There's a lot of paranoia as the central theme of that movie. And that's a marriage gone wrong as well. I never thought about it in those terms, but why are we talking about this? Because I never realized the extent of the collaboration and the familial. Well, actually, I should have. Because I went to see Carpenter live on stage twice, and the people on stage with him were his son, his nephew, like friends of the family. He's always worked closely with people. And why are we talking about this? Because this movie is, the executive producer of this movie is Sandy King. And Sandy King is Carpenter's wife to this day. They've been together since 1990, so it's a long time. She's the one that owns the studio that releases all the comics that Carpenter releases on a regular basis, which are fantastic, by the way. We're going to enlist some of them later in the show, but actually we'll do it now. Like stuff like John Carpenter's Asylum is phenomenal. Tales from Halloween Night, Tales of Science Fiction. There's a lot of collaborators that step in as well, like Clive Barker. There's a lot of, it's incredible. So I think the company is called, if you're not familiar with it, look for Storm King Comics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But this collaboration kind of injected new energy into not necessarily profitable, because there's a lot of stuff that he did that wasn't that profitable, but it's definitely worth revisiting. Like, I rewatched Vampires recently, and it was much better than when I watched it when it was released. Maybe there's no nostalgia, but some stuff ages better because when you place it in that moment in time, it just feels plasticky. But then later on, it absorbs a different. And this movie did that to me today and yesterday.
When I rewatched this movie, I forgot the ending of this movie. I thought there was another twist to the tale.
Same.
And that twist was I thought the twist to the tale was that Trent was Sutter.
Me too.
Yeah,
in my
that's
head.
that's what I remember too. That's what I remember too. That's how far away from this movie we were. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that was totally. So that's what I thought the ending was. I think I actually had to rewatch from 20 minutes to the end again to be like, wait. I thought, and this doesn't, and how does this go? I think that's the testament to this movie, that this movie can be as complicated as you want it to be, or it can be as surface value as you want it to be. And that's what makes this a really good movie. The surface value to this is that it's the end of the world. But the deeper meanings around this movie are to do with the fact that an author has basically put his final life's work into a novel and just set it free. And by doing that, he has completely removed himself from our plane of existence. And that's even better. That's like, that makes this movie is kind of a cherry on the cake, chef's kiss, because it goes back to actually the conversation we had with Liam last time he was on the show of art living beyond the artist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sam Neill is, he gets a lot of screen time. He gets a ton of screen time here. He's a true protagonist of this movie, and he carries the movie on his shoulders. Man, there's a sequence. We're going to jump around, so let's go there. I think I've said it on the show as well. Like the color that, not that I hate, but that I like the least. Actually, I quite dislike it. Is blue. All right. The only time
I knew you were going to talk about this scene. I love this scene.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Did I not tell you guys that my favorite color is blue? Like, what the hell?
Really? Well, there you go. Polar opposites. Liam sucks! Anyway. So,
Liam sucks. Liam sucks. We're going to start it. Go.
There is an entire sequence here. And again, it's one-liners, right? It's actually my list of my favorite one-liners. I had to stop writing because I got a full page of them. And that's one of the things that comes out of Sutter Cane, which, by the way, that transition, so easy to do because if you look at the hairstyle of the lady sitting next to Sam Neill, he kind of fuses like some weird fucking super evil Q. You remember Q in Star Trek?
Yeah.
That's very much the way Sutter Cane can appear here. Like he's an interdimensional being by this stage. So by this stage in the story, and he just shows up. He materializes next to him on the Greyhound bus or whatever the fuck it is, and tells him, "Did I ever tell you that my favorite color was blue?" And then you see our protagonist blink, and all of a sudden the world's gone Michael Mann. It's 10 seconds of blue. And it's a crazy shit to do. It's crazy shit to do. Even the way he screams on it. Man, again, this movie should not work. But I really like what you said earlier about the fact that we all had this kind of misguided idea that this movie had a different ending. This time around, getting the actual ending quickly led me to the. I don't think it's just a theory. I think that's what it is. That he picked up the manuscript a long time ago, and as soon as he obtained it, he started going crazy reading it, right? And that's why 2-3 months had passed, and whatever you see in the movie is basically a dream sequence. I'm curious to see. I think it was 96 or 97 that the Sixth Sense came out.
Sixth Sense was the end of the 90s. It was 99.
Okay. So we have this period where movies like Jacob's Ladder, for example, as well. Mm-hmm. The Angel Heart, which started way earlier, but this movie could easily be categorized as one of those, huge fucking twist in the tail. But the car beat, it was doing my head in, man. Because I just couldn't place it. I couldn't understand why this was such a prominent thing. I'm curious to know how much of this movie is on the cutting floor. Because the entire thing that would have worked here as well, because this movie has a massively tight running time.
Yeah.
Massively tight. I would have taken around 20 minutes of this. I would have. Because there's a couple of things that you can see that in the script, they would have been hammered through for impact. And I'll give you an example. When he's in the motel room and he goes to check out, they tell him that there's a package for him. And it's the manuscript that he tried to get rid of. But that only happens once. Then we see him burning it. That sequence of him burning the script should have leaned into it, as in he tries to get rid of it in different ways, and it just keeps coming back. But we just get it once.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it was structured originally.
In my opinion, I feel like that would turn it to Warner Brothers Looney Tunes-esque, like, oh, I'm trying to drop it down a hole, and it's a backup,
Yeah, but it's the theme of the movie, right?
Yeah.
It's in the mouth of madness.
Yeah, sorry. You're right. It is in the theme of the movie, but another thing that we haven't spoken about is that this has one of our favorite elements to these genre films, which is the unreliable narrator. We are listening to the story. We are watching the story he's telling, because he's telling Dr. Wren, who's played by David Warner. And
who's not enough. Not enough.
No, not enough.
It's
way not
great.
enough.
Yeah.
Like, he literally picked up the paycheck, turned up on one day of filming, and was like, oh, great. Okay, I'm out. Oh, I'm out.
He's always great, dude.
Yeah, but
he's always
Warner.
amazing.
I mean, look, David Warner, famous from Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. Fucking great performance. And also,
man. Get out.
Hey,
Get
we also don't get enough John Glover, who's also famous for Gremlins 2, The New Batch, right?
Yes, actually, that's what I remember him from.
That, and you know what?
Are we going to play this game? Are we going to fucking play this game? Because one of my favorite actors that shows up, and he always looks like Meatloaf, he's in this. You know what I'm talking about. We always get him wrong. Peter Jason's in this. And then I was like, why do I remember Peter Jason from every Carpenter movie? Because he was. He's in 7 Carpenter movies. And every time you see him, you go, is that Meatloaf? Every time. Poor Peter Jason, man. I mean, even in Deadwood. When he showed up in Deadwood, I was like, is that Meatloaf?
Meatloaf.
And then you took the words right out of my mouth. Oh, it must have been while you were kissing me. You took the words right out of my mouth. Oh, and I said it's true. I was just about to say I love you. And then you took the words right out of my mouth. Oh, it must
Also, we've got Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, okay? We have John Glover in Gremlins 2, The New Batch, but we also have Wilhelm von Homburg from Ghostbusters 2.
Yes!
And what's
Three of my favorite lines of this movie, dude.
But you know what?
Vigo!
Vigo. But you know what's great, though? When the door opens, I was waiting for Vigo to say, "Find me a child so I may live again." And there goes the child.
Find me a child that I might live again.
Yes, a child. A child. A child?
Stay on this, because he's got on my list of favorite lines. He utters three of my favorite one-liners back to back in this movie. So the first one is, "Reality is not what it used to be," which is so good. It's like a tagline for a poster. I bet you that it is, maybe in some markets. It must have been. So reality is not what it used to be. 2 seconds later, he goes, "I don't remember what came first, us or the book." It comes out of his mouth. And the next one is, I have to. He wrote me this way.
Yeah.
I steal that from you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I love
But
that one.
dude, let's stay on one-liners, right? There's one of the things that, again, in another movie, because the delivery was so fucking bad. And I don't have anything against the actor that plays Linda. Her name is, because dude, she was in Fright Night Part 2 and she made that movie. She played Regine. Look at a picture of Regine. The moment you see her, she's like the leader of the vampires. Super sexy in that movie. So she's not that sexualized here, actually, but she's got some funny scenes. And I was surprised that they left that take in, because there's a moment in which she walks back into the bedroom that they're sharing. And she goes, "I'm losing me, John. I'm losing me."
Yeah.
I rewinded that so many times. It's fucking terrible. It is so soap opera telenovela bullshit.
But yeah, Julie Carmen, who's playing Linda Stiles, I feel like she was given the bad end of the stick. Like, she's surrounded by people who are like so integral to the parts of this film, and her character should be integral, because she's basically the connective tissue between Sutter Cane and the publishers, but she just turns into another, like, she might as well be one of the villagers. She might as well be trying to look for the children. Yeah.
But it's excuse, because then at the end you'll work out that she wasn't there all along. She was a figment.
Yeah, which is, again, is that reality, or is that John Trent's like recollection of how things went?
Well, it's his projection of someone who's met for 5 minutes.
And it does go back to the whole, like, again, looking at other John Carpenter's work, the whole They Live stuff, where how much is it reality and how much is it a guy going crazy thinking everyone's aliens? Put the sunglasses on. Like, who puts on... There's only 2 people who puts on sunglasses in that movie, and yet we have to believe that everybody's an alien, and then you get the twist at the end where it's like, oh, they are aliens. But in this film, there is such a heavy leaning on created religions. There's such a heavy leaning on creating believers that it does, as I said, it feels like a Cronenberg film. It feels like out with the old, in with the new.
You mentioned religion now, and there's one thing that when I found it, I thought, I'm reaching for sure, because it's not factoid online. So I'm going to jump in. This is the thing this is one of the threads that I followed, right? In the sequence in the motel, when he's alone, he sits down on the bed and he turns around and he sees a TV. Now, it was one of those old motel TVs that also had like a clock, like an LCD clock incorporated onto it. And the time on the TV is 9:17. I started doing this every time there are numbers that look arbitrary usually. I don't think they ever are. I think there's always like a symbolism behind it. So I'll check. I just looked at the number and looked for a Bible verse, and I found one, obviously. Now, the Bible verse is from the Roman book, right, 9:17, and it says, "I raised you up for this very purpose, that I might display my power in you, and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth." This happens right after he picks up the manuscript and he goes back, after he's been given the task, right? And in the story. And I fucking blew my mind, because you look online, there's no reference to it. But why I don't think I'm reaching is because they went out of their way to put something on that screen. Do you know the movie that is playing on the screen?
What's the movie playing on the screen?
It's called Robot Monster from it's in my notes, 1953. It turns out that this was John Carpenter's favorite creature feature when he was a kid.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
So if they put the symbolism on that, and then there's that particular time on the screen as well, I don't think that any of this is a reach. And even like the dust on the car, I actually had the realization while talking to you guys, because I thought, why is the car important here? Because it's not a fancy car. But if you think about it, if you mentioned They Live, there's a moment in which he meets Meg Foster, right? Which is this conduit to this secret society, whatever bullshit. Well, not bullshit. That's, I think They Live is real. But, yeah. There's always like a sequence besides, he's got a thing with cars, man. And it's not just because we made Christine, which we should do at one point on the show because I love that movie. Horror Weekly made an entire episode on why it's impossible to make that movie with another car, with a modern car these days. And he's right. If you go listen to it. It's one of the latest episodes of Horror Weekly. He's got a thing with cars. There's always like something that happens in this movie. The car gets taken by her. She drives off. Then, like, you know what I mean? It's whatever vehicle it is becomes intrinsic to the story. It's not just a car.
I also want to bring in that Michael DeLuca, after coming up with the initial premise, did actually look at, and I do apologize to anybody in the audience who may be this way, did look at the way L. Ron Hubbard created Scientology. So, and you can see it, because the whole thing is the fact that it starts from a horror writer, and L. Ron Hubbard was a science fiction writer, and how he manifested a religion from his text.
I want you to check something. Check if the Scientology, whatever book, manuscript, handbook, whatever, check if it's been translated in 18 languages. Because that number seems arbitrary, but it's what Sutter Cane says to him.
But it probably will be more now. That's the issue. Because it's probably been translated.
How many languages was look at the name of the book for Scientology and see how many languages that was translated into in 1995. Because if it is, then... See, this is what I was doing alone. Now I'm doing it to you guys. What the fuck?
What was it, 1995?
1995.
Okay. Main scripture was 17 core languages after the first one. Yep. You've got it.
Shit.
Wow.
There you go. Exactly.
Welcome to my world.
but the point is that it was, and that's
spooky.
Sort of the part of the religion of this film. The religion of this film
He
is
does an
that,
entire spiel about religion, right?
yeah, but but I think that was the heavy-handed schlock, so they could deny like which way this film was leaning towards. Like, is it leaning? Well, because the minute that someone says, "Oh yeah, it's about L. Ron Hubbard," you go, "Whoa," and a lot of people go, "Whoa," and all that stuff. So I feel like all of the barbaric talk of the Bible and what God means and whatnot is to kind of put this more in the like schlock genre aspect.
Yeah,
and, it's not the master. It's not the master at all.
No, but it's Carpenter. Carpenter's going to throw social commentary whenever he gets a chance.
Well,
speaking
of social
he's angry to this day. Like,
I mean, speaking of social commentary, did you guys get any vibe that Carpenter may have been playing with moral panic in media and violence in media? Obviously not film, but in this instance, a novel.
Oh,
like, do you feel there was a bit of that going on?
Oh yeah, mass hysteria for sure. That's
absolutely. Yeah. One of the things that John Trent is watching early on when he's like reading through the books is actually one of those daytime talk shows of whether violence in video games or movies, whether that sort of stuff is affecting our children. And in many interviews at the time and post the time, Carpenter found it ludicrous. He said several times in 1995, like, how can they blame media for the violence of people? Because really, what he was trying to get at is like, sure, it might be a catalyst, but those people were violent anyway. Mm-hmm. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah. I remember when Magic the Gathering cards came out. All of a sudden it was, it's insane. It's insane. Some people need to get a hobby, mate. Like They get that shit
Oh,
as their hobby, which
Did
is
you hear
bad.
the recent one?
Well,
Monsters and Minions, the new Minions film.
oh my God.
Yeah, they've already started on it because they're
Really?
like, in the film, they used the Necronomicon to produce Cthulhu, and it means that it's about Satanism. And you're like, no, that's no.
Repeated here are the phonetic pronunciations of those passages. Kanda, Estrata, Amantos.
Favorite lines, right? Everybody's got gold, dude. But obviously, we need to talk about Sam Neill, and Sam Neill also has some,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they come out of nowhere. They
Can I
come
say
out of
one?
nowhere.
Can I say
Yep,
one too?
Go ahead.
Never, never, never throw chips at a driver.
My
That's
favorite, my favorite John Trent quote is "Your books suck."
That's good. But the one that I've got a bunch, but the first one when I started, okay, I need to write them down then, is when he leaves the inn and he comes back to the inn, not the motel, that's later. This is the inn with Francis Bay running it, right? Which, by the way, we consider as work in KMB's work should be praised.
Mm-hmm.
But when he goes back, he goes to reception and she's not, but he's already in distress because she's not there immediately. He goes, "Come on, you old bitch." That's one of them. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? He went from 0 to 1,000 with her because he doesn't know anything. So that's one thing. Then it's when he starts panicking. And if you put these lines in anybody else's mouth, they would have sounded ridiculous. But it's when he's basically most of these lines are all uttered back to back, right? He says, "I want to see a supervisor."
Yeah, I want to see a supervisor.
But then he's got 2 lines with Sutter Cane. And again, this is a perfect example of something that it's almost impossible for an actor to deliver without being subjected to ridicule. And yet it works here. I don't know why. Not because he passed or whatever, but because he's Sam Neill and he fucking managed. And I hate them. I hate them without, laughing in derision. The first one is, "I know what's real. I know who I am, and nobody pulls my strings." It's dude. It's
No one
You know
else
what I
can
mean?
deliver
Like-
it. No one else can deliver it.
no
It
one
was
else can deliver
amazing.
that.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful, and it's just
madness.
it's melodrama. Like
Mm.
yet you'll take it, but that's not the worst one. Because he delivers the line like, "I'm not a piece of shit," but that's not the line. The line is, "I'm not a piece of fiction."
Brilliant.
Oh, this film.
If you fucking go back and listen to it,
Yeah.
I'm sure that when he rehearsed this, he rehearsed it like, I'm going to say it like, "I'm not a piece of shit," but it's, and from now on, I'm going to say that to people, I think. If
not
I'm
a
being
piece of
misfiction, I'm going to go, "I'm not a piece of fiction."
John Carpenter said that he really enjoyed working with Sam Neill on this because he used to come to set and just act like he was in a comedy. And it shows, like, even in the most serious scenes, he's still that person who's going, "Well, I don't think this is reality at all," and then walks away. Like, even when he's like, he drives into the town over and over again and is on that, like, Groundhog Day circuit that he does. He drives into and that final time where he's like, "I'm just going to run them all over." It does look like, you know what? That's the most sensible thing I can do in this situation. Bam.
There's a sequence here with something that I've never seen in a film before. I've never seen it. Like the trope of the step back. As in, you're either trying to calm somebody down or they're so fucking crazy you need to get away from them. The walk back. It's been made fun and whatever you want to call it. When you go, "Oh, okay,"
Yeah.
and you just walk away from somebody because you just don't want to deal with that kind of crazy.
Like in the Resident Evil 1 game where you, every so often, if you were playing against Claire Redfield, you'd be like,
Yeah. There's a couple of episodes of Family Guy where Peter does it to his own daughter, to Mag, like, "Yeah, okay," and they just walk away from because she says something weird. There's a jewel here. In the same sequence, you get 2 characters doing it to each other for different reasons. And it's the scene when John Trent goes back to see the publisher, which is played by Charlton Heston. The name of the publisher escapes me. Charlton Heston plays Jackson Harglow. which is a great name for a publisher. But there's a realization, because he's pleading with him. Charlton Heston is like, he's asking 2 or 3 questions. When he gets to the third question, he knows, oh, fuck, you're fucking crazy. And the way he does it is in the first question, he kind of leans forward on the desk. Then he asks the second question, he stands up and grabs the chair. And on the third question, he starts walking away from the desk backwards, as in, he's trying to work out gradually. It's clinical the way it's done. Watch it, because it's 3 questions and there's like 3 movements that he does to work out how crazy, the level of crazy. And as he gets crazier with his answers, he distances himself to different extents. But as this happens, we get also Sam Neill trying to remove himself from the situation. And I bet you that it happened by mistake, because as he gets up, the chair behind him falls to the ground. And then as he backs off, he steps on one of the legs of the chair, and the chair's actually rolling with him out of the room a little bit. It's fucking, dude, you need to, it's so fucking funny. So it's like a jewel of, oh, what the fuck? It's that kind of moment.
I've got to do a live edit. I said Claire Redfield. That's Resident Evil 2. It should be Jill Valentine. I do apologize.
Who's Jill Valentine?
Jill Valentine was in Resident Evil 1. Claire Redfield was in Resident Evil 2. Sorry. My apologies. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, because this is our segue into Event Horizon. It's one of my favorites, but every time I distance myself from the movie and I look at it, if I glance back, it might as well have been Carpenter, the way it's made.
I really want to do that on the show.
We have to, because it's Paul Anderson peaking early in his career.
Yeah,
sorry, but no Resident Evil movie is going to match Event Horizon.
But not only that, the lore of the lost footage is enough.
Sam Neill plays the same role he plays in this movie.
Yeah, madness.
He plays the same role. Yeah. But this is where he perfected it. Yeah, he spirals, right? It's the same kind of character arc. And I never thought about it in this way, because I remember this movie being different. Having a different ending.
But I even feel like the time between Event Horizon and this film wasn't actually that long. Like, it was maybe 2 years at most.
Was it 97, 98? Or later? No, it must have been 99. 99?
97.
Because I remember looking at it and being like, oh, that was actually quite close. It's weird.
I think it was 97, maybe.
Event Horizon. Yeah, 97. So there was 2 or 3 years between release. So he must have gone from In the Mouth of Madness and maybe a couple of films after that and then straight into Event Horizon, because that would have taken so long to film everything, and they would have had to spend then like years on special effects. So I wouldn't be surprised if In the Mouth of Madness and Event Horizon were actually back-to-back filming and then, got released much later because of all of the gloriousness.
That deserves a transfer. That deserves and I don't know if it got like a proper edition. Maybe we need to take a look.
Yeah,
we
do
schedule.
Because I've got a Blu-ray version of it. I don't think it ever got transferred up to 4K. So.
Oh, it's shameful. It's shameful. That movie I almost broke my knee on the way to the cinema to watch that. I was running. I made the huge mistake because I was still smoking. I made the mistake of being super stoned and watching that stoned. Oh my God, it fucked my life. And then I thought, but was it that scary? No, I watched it again afterwards and it's still...
It is.
Still very
scary.
It
is really unsettling. If you don't find it scary, you will be unsettled by it. But that's why we need to do it, because...
Have you seen Stoned? Have you watched it Stoned?
Mate.
Yeah, you have. Sorry. I'm asking stupid questions.
Mate. Before we do rating times, let me drop this factoid. Did everybody see the Jedi turned Sith in this film?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hayden Christensen is the paper boy.
How did I miss it?
The paper boy who's like, you all right, mister?
Where
Hayden
is he?
Christensen. He's
Which
the
one?
paper
The kid
boy.
on the bike?
Yeah, the kid on the bike at the crossroads who comes in and says, you all right, mister? The paper boy is Hayden Christensen.
No. You want to talk about any of the new releases that are impending on Refuse? You want to shine a light on what's happening? Anything that our listeners should know?
Sure, yeah. So we've currently got in manufacturing right now 3 excellent 16mm independent films. The Pope of Utah, that has never had a DVD release. It only ever had a VHS release in 95. The Pope of Utah is really good. Splatter University is a 80s slasher classic. We've got some great special features on there and the original director's cut. And we also have Die You Zombie Bastards, which was shot on 16mm in the mid-2000s. Beautiful transfer, packed with special features. So that's coming out soon from Refuse Films.
I think it's Ratings Times.
It is.
So I guess mine is 7 out of 10, and that'd be 7 more units over what Stephen King sold.
I am giving this film an 8.8. This is a very important film in horror history and has been overlooked, I feel, for many, many years. What I find about this film is that you will always watch it, rewatch it, and still not quite know where things are happening or how things, or whether things are real or conceptualized. There is so much about this that is also a little bit schlocky. I must admit that the first time I watched this compared to now, I still had moments where I'm like, did I hear that right? Or did I understand that point right? Which sometimes will always be the issue with this film and some of the audience, which is there are points that ask you to completely leave everything you've consumed so far and just forget about it because we're moving on and we're moving on without you. And sometimes it is slightly to the detriment of the story, but at the same time, it doesn't change the experience of this film. This film is an experience. It is wild. It is crazy, but you will watch it and you'll want to watch it again. So 8.8, what? 8.8 cops beating up homeless people down an alleyway asking if you want some.
Not bad.
Nice.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And this is high for me because it's an 8.5. It's an 8.5, and it didn't have that ranking. I'm so grateful for this. It's a shame that it had to come at the expense of the passing of a great actor. But this movie is an 8.5. It's an 8.5 what? It's an 8.5 mismatched outfits. And I'm talking about cowboy boots, blue denim, and a sports coat. This movie is now at the top of that mountain when it comes down to Lovecraftian / cosmic horror, because I didn't even look at it under that light. This is a hard movie to make, dude. It's got everything in it. It's got a portal into another dimension. It has a manuscript. It has interdimensional creatures. It has madness as a concept perfectly portrayed on screen. How the fuck do you put all these things in a movie that it's not ridiculous? And it works. So solely on the basis of what a huge endeavor it is. And now it's the conclusion to Carpenter, arguably. I think everything that Carpenter makes is at its core apocalyptic, you know. Yet, again, we said it earlier, I think we see Carpenter at its most playful here. And finally, a question we should ask our audience is, do you read Sutter Cane? And on that note, this was Umba.
This is Ricky.
This is Liam Regan from Refuse Films.
When the outside temperature rises and the meaning is oh so clear, 1001 yellow daffodils begin to dance in front of you, oh dear. Are they trying to tell you something? You're missing that one final screw. You're simply not in the pink, my dear. To be honest, you haven't got a clue. slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. It finally happened. It finally happened. Whoa, it finally happened. I'm slightly mad.